The smell hit Jack Thornton like a punch-burnt plastic, sharp and chemical, mixed with something sickly sweet that didn't belong in a home. It wasn't the kind of smell you'd expect stepping into your sunny, suburban kitchen. Not the faint char of overdone toast or a spilled casserole. This was deliberate, malicious, a stench that screamed destruction. Jack, a guy who'd spent years piecing together the wreckage of human choices as a chief arson investigator, felt his gut twist. This wasn't right. Not here, in the house he'd bought for his pregnant wife, Emily, where she should have been humming over a cup of herbal tea or fussing with the nursery. Instead, a gut-wrenching wail tore through the quiet afternoon, raw and desperate, pulling him forward like a hook in his chest. His heart pounded. Each step through the dining room, he dread coiling tight. Silence followed, broken only by Emily's ongoing sobs that sounded like they were ripping her apart. He found her in the Lee room, curled on the floor, her body shaking violently, shards of a broken picture frame scattered like jagged teeth on their new cream rug. But it was the smoldering heap in the center that stopped his breath. A blackened, curled piece of paper, still smoking, its edges shriveled like a dying leaf. Their ultrasound, their first glimpse of their daughter. And there, looming against the bay window's bright light, stood Mrs. Clara Wentworth, their next-door neighbor. In her gloved hand, she gripped a blowtorch, its nozzle faintly glowing with heat. "No babies," she shrieked, her voice shrill like glass shattering. "This is a quiet neighborhood. No crying brats, no toys cluttering lawns, no chaos. I warned you." Her eyes, wild and feverish, locked on Emily's crumpled form, then flicked to Jack, a flash of annoyance crossing her pinched face before settling into smug fury. Jack's instincts, honed from years of sifting through crime scenes, screamed to stay calm, to catalog the denke, forced entry, assault, destruction. But the rage boiling in his chest, the primal need to protect Emily and their unborn child, drowned it all out. He could still see it through the char, the faint outline of a tiny hand, a perfect profile on the one unburnt corner of the ultrasound. Their daughter. "Get out," he growled, his voice low, dangerous, each word heavy with barely contained fury. He stepped between Clara and Emily, a wall of cold rage. Emily's sobs hitched, her trembling hand reaching for him, her eyes wide with terror and fragile hope. Clara scoffed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "I'm upholding community standards, Mr. Thornton. The HOA's too spineless to act, so I did." She jabbed the blowtorch toward the charred ultrasound, had to go. The sheer gall, the casual cruelty, was staggering. Jack smelled the butane, the scorched rug, saw the deliberate burn mark. His mind ticked off charges: breaking and entering, assault with a deadly weapon, property destruction. His fists clenched, itching to act, but he forced calm. "Mrs. Wentworth," he said, locking eyes with her, "you're in my home, Yunin Ted. You've destroyed my property and terrified my pregnant wife. Leave now, or I'll make you." For a moment, Clara's lips tightened, her knuckles whitening around the blowtorch. Then, something in Jack's unflinching stereo glint of steel made her falter. With a disdainful sniff, she lowered the torch and marched out, her posture rigid. "This isn't over," she called back, her voice echoing in the hall. "This neighborhood has rules." The front door clicked shut, leaving a suffocating silence. Jack dropped to his knees beside Emily, his breath catching at her ashen face, streaked with tears. Her hands pressed fiercely against her belly. "Jack," she whispered, voice raw. "She just walked in. I was getting water." She knocked, then opened the back door before I could answer. Said she needed to talk about the baby. Then she saw the ultrasound on the mantel and started screaming. Her words dissolved into sobs. She pulled out that thing. Jack held her tight, rocking her, the acrid smoke clinging to her hair. His anger roared, but he pushed it down. Emily needed him steady, and Clara Wentworth had no idea the hornet's nest she kicked. 6 months ago, Willow Grove Estates had seemed perfectly-lined streets, manicured lawns, a community pool sparkling under the sun. Jack and Emily had bought their 2-story colonial dreaming of a swing set, a sandbox, their daughter's laughter filling the yard. Emily, radiant with pregnancy, had poured her heart into the nursery, picking soft yellows and greens. Jack, whose job often plunged him into grim scenes of loss, found peace here. Until Clara. They met her there first week. Clara Wentworth, HOA president, with a handshake like a VYC. Her welcome was cold, her binder of bylaws thick as a textbook. Her gaze lingered on Emily's baby bump, a flicker of distaste crossing her face. Order, peace, and quiet are paramount, she'd said, her voice flat. Emily, ever polite, had smiled. It's so lovely here. We're expecting, you know. Clara's lips thinned. Children are a presence. They'd brushed it off as HOA zeal, but Jack noticed her sterile lawn, her drawn blinds, the eerie precision of her home. Once he'd glimpsed a faded toy wagon behind her hedge. Gone the next day, the weeds raised. Trouble started with a rose bush Emily planted crimson, VY Brandt, but unapproved by Clara, who called it a hazard. Then came a formal HOA letter, warning of future disturbances to the neighborhood's tranquility. Emily, trembling, had whispered, "She means our baby, doesn't she?" Jack confronted Clara, who didn't flinch. "Babies," she'd said, "are often noisy." Her harassment escalated. Cruel comments to Emily when Jack was at work, a baby blanket gift ruined with bleach, a maple tree band with a fabricated excuse. "She wants us gone," Emily had cried one night. "She hates our baby." That day, Jack had been buried in case files at his downtown office, calling Emily at lunch to say he'd be late. Her voice was tired but warm, chatting about a new recipe. He'd never imagined the horror brewing. Now, on their ruined rug, he helped Emily to the sofa. "Are you hurt? Did she touch you?" he asked, his voice gentle, eyes hard. "No," Emily murmured, staring at the charred photo. "She pushed past me, went straight for it." Jack dialed 911, his tone shifting to one of absolute authority. "This is Jack Thornton, 12, Willow Grove Lane. I'm reporting a breaking and entering, malicious destruction of property, and assault with a dangerous weapon. The suspect, Clara Wentworth, lives at 14 Willow Grove. She left 2 minutes ago. My pregnant wife is in distress." Police arrived, fast officers Daniels and Carter. Jack recounted everything, precise and emotionless, pointing out the splintered doorframe, the scorched rug, the blowtorch's burn. Emily, trembling, corroborated, her voice breaking. Jack mentioned the security camera above the porch. "It'll show her forcing entry with the blowtorch," he said. Carter nodded. "You're with the city, right? Forensics?" Jack met his gaze. "Something like that. EVY Denke analysis. I haven't touched anything to preserve the scene." Daniels, taking Emily's statement, rejoined them. "We're heading next door to talk to her." Clara denied everything, claiming the ultrasound spontaneously combusted due to faulty wiring. Jack snorted. "And the blowtorch she was holding?" Carter smirked. "Found it in her trash, still warm. She said it was for creme brulee for a non-existent bake sale." With the footage, Emily's testimony, and the warm blowtorch, Clara was arrested for breaking and entering, aggravated assault, and property destruction. Through their window, Jack and Emily watched her, handcuffed, shrieking, "You'll pay." "This is a conspiracy," as the patrol car drove off. Detective Larson arrived, a sharp-eyed woman Jack knew vaguely from city meetings. The crime scene unit processed the room, collecting the charred photo's remnants. Jack showed Larson the footage, Clara prying the door open with a crowbar, blowtorch in hand, then storming out. "Clear forced entry," Larson said. "Her creme brulee story's toast." She eyed Jack. "You preserved the scene like a pro, Thornton. Almost like you've done this before." Daniels, overhearing, froze. "Wait, Thornton, your SAW chief saw Thornton, County Arson Task Force." Larson's eyes widened. "Saw the SAW chief Thornton? Here." Jack sighed, his cherished anonymity gone. "That's me. Didn't expect to be a VY Tim in my own home, but here we are." Emily stared, a mix of awe and realization dawning. Her quiet husband, who came home smelling of old buildings, was a top investigator of crimes like this. Larson grinned. "Clara picked the wrong house." The DA's gonna love your take on this. Word spread fast. Clara's lawyer, Victor Hayes, a slick defense attorney, panicked. Facing a chief arson investigator with airtight EVY Denke, he launched a VY Sias media campaign, painting Jack as a corrupt official planting EVY Denke, Emily as a troublemaker. Anonymous complaints against Jack clumsily tied to Clara's allies' alleged ethics violations. One morning, Emily found dead, blackened flowers on their doorstep, a chilling message. The stress took its toll. Emily grew withdrawn, dark circles under her eyes. Jack fought back with facts. The HOA letter, the ruined blanket, witness affida VYTS, pro-VYing Clara's targeted malice. His department dismissed the complaints as retaliatory. The Willow Grove HOA, facing liability, called an emergency meeting. Jack and Emily attended, Larson discreetly present. The clubhouse buzzed with tension. Clara sat with Hayes, defiant. Jack spoke, his voice steady, detailing months of harassment in the letters, the verbal abuse, the blowtorch attack. This wasn't about rules, he said, staring at Clara. It was hatred. She tried to terrorize us because we're HOA-ing a child. As chief arson investigator, I can tell you the EVY Denke is airtight. I'll see justice served. Hayes jumped up, red-faced. This is an abuse of power. He's rigging this against my client. Clara snapped, leaping to her feet, her composure shattering. He's lying. He planted that blowtorch. He's a corrupt firebug. Her voice hit a piercing shriek, her eyes wild. She lurched as if to flee, but Larson blocked her. Sit down, Ms. Wentworth, Larson said, her voice cutting through the chaos. You're not helping yourself. Clara collapsed, sobbing, her rage crumbling. Then, Mrs. Evelyn Harper, an elderly resident, stood, her voice soft but clear. Clara, I remember when you moved here, so full of life. And your little Samuel, such a bright boy. That awful day at the lake. He was only 5. You were never the same after losing him. Your husband faded too. You built walls, needed everything quiet, controlled. Maybe other children's joy was too much. She dabbed her eyes. It doesn't excuse what you did, but oh, Clara, your grief consumed you. Clara's face twisted, raw anguish replacing fury. My Samuel, she whispered, eyes distant. He loved the lake. It's so quiet now. I couldn't bear the noise again. She crumpled, sobbing, her world shattered. The HOA voted her out unanimously. Residents shared stories of her obsessive control, her fixation on silence. Clara pleaded guilty to assault and property destruction, getting 5 years probation, therapy, fines, and a restraining order. She sold her house and left. The HOA apologized, rewrote bylaws, and planted a maple tree for Jack and Emily's daughter, Lily, born healthy and perfect. The community healed, embracing Lily with gifts and warmth. One afternoon, Jack rocked Lily on their porch swing, her gurgles blending with kids' laughter from the park, a sound Clara couldn't bear, but Jack cherished. Emily joined him, her head on his shoulder. She's perfect, she whispered. Jack nodded, thinking of the charred ultrasound, Clara's rage, and Evelyn's words. Justice had been complex, revealing a neighbor's buried sorrow. But what do you think? Was Clara just a VY lane, or did her tragedy make her actions understandable? Should Jack have pushed for harsher punishment, or was probation fair? Could the community have seen her pain sooner? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if this story gripped you, and subscribe for more.